Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member, Jay. And man, we're up to 4 episodes of Bad Batch already. Up to 4 episodes of Bad Batch already. We're going to talk about the first three because hopefully it's been a week, so you should have watched it by now. Should have watched that. And yeah, we're going to review those episodes. How did you like them? We'll get my thoughts on that. And you know what? If you're here, let me know what you think about the first 3 episodes of the Bad Batch. You can also give me your thoughts on the fourth episode. We won't go into a lot of details on the fourth episode. It just came out today. So I like to give everybody a chance to see those and watch those before any spoilers. So yeah, we're not going to go into an in-depth discussion of that tonight. But next week, we'll talk about Bad Batch episode 4. A lot of other things to talk about. We're gonna go in. We're gonna have a crucial character pick tonight. We are going to. I almost forgot like everything that I put in the agenda. I just know that there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of classic games getting released. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We got a couple other games that have been popping up. Yeah, we'll talk about those. I don't even know if like some of you know anything about the one like crossover game. I've never heard of it before. So that'll be something that we'll talk a little bit about. We got some Legacy Lightsabers that are getting released in a couple weeks. We'll dive into that a little bit, and if you plan on getting those or not, I wish I had the credits to get those. We are gonna talk about. Yeah, and some books. Some books came out. What else has happened? We just have so much stuff that is like just come to play. So lots of things. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get this started. We are actually going to kind of go a little bit out of normal order of what I usually do. Kind of like what my title kind of goes with here. The C-3PO line, "What have you done? I'm backwards." Love that Empire Strikes Back. When Chewbacca puts C-3PO back together kind of awkwardly. We'll get into the background here in a little bit, but we'll go back to that. But I really want to talk about my crucial character pick first, because it's going to be from the Rise of Skywalker. So, I've done a character pick from Rise of Skywalker before, kind of like one of my favorite characters of Rise of Skywalker, and talked about that before. Just one of the many characters that pops out at me. And previously, if I can find my notes from the last time of when I went through this, it was the Resistance pilots. Just in general, the Resistance pilots, and just how cool they look, like how different they look. And I've had that was like a previous crucial character pick, because it wasn't for the Resistance pilots, they wouldn't have won, obviously, the war in the sequel trilogy. So they were crucial characters in their own right to me. But this time I wanted to really go deep and really look at one specific character and who really was kind of like the main, most important character, what I think from the Rise of Skywalker. And I gave a lot of thought of this at this one, and I came up with actually somebody that really wasn't even there on set and filmed to be in the movie, but they were able to find a way to get her in the film. And we know that being Carrie Fisher playing Leia Skywalker Organa Solo. And the reason why I'm actually saying all of her names is because I kind of like how she passed on her legacy of every single one of those names. And I did a lot of there was this whole big thing with Rise of Skywalker just trying to figure out there was just so much. And I know that they have so much that they didn't actually place in the movie. They cut a lot of it out. They filmed so much. They cut a lot of it out. It did feel a little choppy. And I think that was one of the reasons why a lot of people did not like the film, was because of the editing and just how it felt so cut and paced almost, and very quick in its scenes. Um, and it was kind of hard to understand because of that. But again, they had to really wrap a lot of things up. Um, and because of that, we didn't really we didn't really get a lot of the story that we deserved from some of the characters. And of course, with the untimely death of Carrie Fisher, they had to really figure out a way to wrap up her story without just having her disappear, um, from I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my notes on this actually because I had something written down and I wanted to, and then I just like kind of lost it. But if I don't find it, it's okay. But I'm pretty sure I found it. Yeah, here we go. I found it. So because of the amount of abundance of footage that Ryan Johnson actually created for The Last Jedi, J.J. Abrams was able to take that footage and redo some of it, tweak it, and bring it in as a final story for Leia. And I think what he did made her the most important character of the film, because really she's the one that kind of brought everything to a full circle and a close, and was able to, with her final moments, and what she did in the beginning of the film, what she was doing prior to the beginning of Rise of Skywalker, and what she did all the way until her death in the film, um, was what helped finish the the war. It helped carry everything over. I'm going to go ahead and switch to this amazing photo shot of Leia, there with the iconic lightsaber. Um, but yeah, so kind of starting off, like, again, I mentioned all of her names for a reason. So Leia Skywalker Organa Solo. Um, there was three names that, she was a Skywalker legacy of that family legacy of a Skywalker, and she passed that on. She passed the Organa name on, you know which was the rebellion, was the resistance, the republic. She passed that on, before she left. And then the Solo legacy, that actually got tied in as well, and wrapped up and brought, um, to a close, as well. So all three of those names, she made sure were remembered in a way, and were carried on in a way, um, as well. And if it wasn't for her continuing on, because I think the books kind of dived into the toll that it took on her when she used the Force to save herself, in the Last Jedi. Took a big toll on her, and because of that, her health was deteriorating. And apparently Luke was reaching out to her, kind of urging her to go ahead and let herself become one with the Force. But she she was determined to stay, to resist that, not wanting to leave Rey, because she wanted to continue that training for Rey, which we see happening in the beginning of Rise of Skywalker. Um, she knew that the Resistance needed to be prepared, which again was that Organa part of her, making sure that the Republic would live in the way of a new Republic, um, and making sure that they were prepared adequately for that. And then also one of the biggest moments was making sure that she saved her son. She still had this sense of good in him, kind of like Luke with Darth Vader, um, and that determination to do whatever it takes. And that was her ultimate sacrifice, which ended up her becoming one with the Force. Um, Sensing that, or that duel that Rey was having with Kylo Ren, and that confrontation that was coming from her son, and knowing what she must do to save him, um, calling out to him as Ben, and reaching out to him through the Force, which had a big moment with him turning back to the light side of the Force. So in all three names, she saved the galaxy, with the Skywalker name, passing on that Skywalker legacy, that training to Rey, as a Jedi, following in that path of the Skywalker legacy. The Organa, passing that off to Poe Dameron as a leader of the Resistance, the rebellion, to light that fire, to carry on, and form a new republic in a way, passing on that general feel to him. And then the Organa, the Solo name, redeeming that Solo name through her son Ben, uh, helping him to come back to the light side of the Force, and then also basically saving the galaxy alongside Rey on Exegol. So what better person to honor with a crucial character pick than with the last film of the franchise, than with Leia Skywalker, Organa Solo, being the crucial character of Rise of Skywalker. Let me know what you think about that pick. I'm pretty happy with it. I think she was an integral part of Rise of Skywalker. I think if it wasn't for having Leia's part in that story, things would have turned out a lot differently. So, a couple other things that I loved about that, kind of like that, her end moments, R2D2 being by her side, being the only one witnessing her passing, and he was there for her birth, which was pretty cool, to see that droid there from the beginning to the end of her life, which is really, really awesome. I just had to throw that in there because R2D2 is my all-time favorite character. So, had to do that, right? Yeah, so that is my crucial character pick of the month for The Rise of Skywalker. My second crucial character pick of the month. What else do we got today? We got new Legacy Sabers coming out. I was going to pull up the pictures of that, and I want to do that real quick, so bear with me one moment. I'm actually watching the Clone Wars, the Bad Batch, by the way. Just going back and watching episodes 1 through 4. I really need to go back and watch the first season again, because I watched it in preparation, but I missed some things that were revisited. I don't know. I guess in my rewatching, I wasn't really paying attention. all the way. So, but yeah, we'll talk about some of that in a bit. But I want to share the legacy sabers that were recently announced and will be getting released on March um, the 8th, I believe, is when they come out. So just last week they revealed this to be coming out, and oops, I think I shared that way too early. But do well anyway. Oh, that's the picture that I like right there. I think not the one I like. Yeah, I mean these are so this is the legacy saber set for Ventress that is getting released. So the Disciple of the Sith Legacy Lightsaber, coming with it's a limited edition box set. So originally the saber came out in 2003, and you could buy them separately. So you could buy each hilt separately. But now it's all coming in a box set together. And this ties back to the micro series, which that's where we first saw Asajj Ventress, and it was so great to have her continue on as a character and her getting brought into the Clone Wars animated series in a big way, changing throughout. And then we're gonna see her at some point in the Bad Batch. We haven't seen her yet. We're through episode 4. Little bit of a spoiler if you haven't watched it yet. She does not show up this week, but this is from the beginning when we first saw her. These are the hilts that we see her from the first time. So to kind of celebrate that was the whole re-release of these hilts from when we first came to know about Ventress, which is really cool. You can connect them together. There's a piece that you get, which you can connect both hilts together, which gives it that nice curved hilt, which is one of the coolest blades as well. But this is a way to kind of get yourself these hilts again if you want them, and really cool box as well that opens from the top. You can kind of see the triangle format of these of this amazing lid that opens and closes, which is really cool how that opens. And yeah, so we got these blades coming out. They go on sale at Galaxy's Edge March the 8th, which I am blocked out for, so I can't get them, unfortunately, unless I try to get them from the Disney Store on March 11th. So, but I probably won't. I know that these are going to be pretty expensive, and I really can't afford these hilts right now, especially since I have to get some work done on my car. So my Jeep is out of commission for the weekend, unfortunately. But yeah, so these are the sabers. If you're a big Legacy Saber collector, March 8th, I guarantee you they're going to go pretty quick. This is one. I know the last one that came out was the was it the Stellan Gios lightsaber from High Republic that came out on Life Day. That was the last one that was released. That one really didn't sell out that day. I think actually there was still some left the day after. But these, I have a feeling they're going to go really quick. So yeah, so if you're a fan, hopefully you can get into the parks, because I know that's the beginning of like spring break time, and it's going to be pretty busy. So I know a lot of people are going to be hitting those up. I also think it's on a Friday too. So let's see here. We got a new book release, a couple new book releases actually, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this one up there. The Rise and Fall of the Galactic Republic. One of the books that is getting released. So this one comes out. When does this one come out? I don't know when this one comes. Did they say? Oh, July 9th. July 9th. Um, so this is kind of like a, I guess, almost like a just learn. It's almost like a historical book, basically learning about the empire and examining all the intricacies of imperial rule. So if you're into that kind of stuff, and I think this would be an interesting read, especially since Palpatine is such an amazing character, and just kind of seeing what more detail on the rising of the empire, especially with everything that Palpatine did. And you're seeing it in the Bad Batch. Some of the things that he did, he was always like one step ahead of just scheming his way to the top, and uh, that power and over that grip that he had over everyone, and it was really cool. But it's going to explore all sorts of mediums that the Empire has been portrayed in. Everything from the movies, the games, the series, the books, the comics, um, chapters covering all aspects of the Emperor's regime. And yeah, this is a first look at the cover, which is really cool because it kind of goes into the whole rise and fall, the breaking apart of the Imperial cog there, which is really cool. And I love the red on the black as well. So yeah, this again comes out July the 7th, ninth, July the 9th, is when this one comes out. So and then a couple other books that are gonna come out. Star Wars: The Living Force, which is a novel set prior to the Phantom Menace, which is pretty cool to be able to have that as well. I'm gonna change my camera real quick because I know I'm kind of bouncy on this one because of the table that I have. But let's see, there we go. Anyway, um, kind of like my above view. But yeah, so the Living Force, Star Wars: The Living Force. Kind of like a story really with the Jedi Order being at like a crossroads, not agreeing to the full, which this book kind of dives into with a challenge uh, of Qui-Gon Jinn. And like in the Phantom Menace, you kind of knew that there was something that Qui-Gon had done, or his feelings on some things that the way that he didn't agree with the council that prevented him from being on the council, that conversation with him and Obi-Wan Kenobi. And this kind of might dive into that a little bit. We might kind of learn a little bit more of what happened, or one of the things that may have happened that that caused Qui-Gon to kind of be held off of the council. Um, so yeah, so this book comes out again. There's an excerpt that you can read on StarWars.com right now. Um, and that one comes out and arrives on April the 9th. April the 9th. And you can pre-order that right now. And then there is a comic. I think this one's a comic. This one just actually was released news today. Star Wars: The High Republic. Um, The Edge of Balance, I believe this one's called. So this is the manga series by Viz, and this is the Edge of Balance Volume 3. And we have Jedi Knight Lily Torah Asi, and it takes place 1 year after the fall of Starlight Beacon. So uh, there's also the cover art is on StarWars.com. You can see the cover art with Jedi Master Arkoff, the Wookiee um, Jedi Master, with which is really cool. Cool. And then there's a couple different artist depictions of some of the characters in on StarWars.com as well. This one comes out August the 13th, and you can pre-order it as well. So yeah, so those are some publications that are coming out. Rise and Fall of the Galactic Republic. So kind of like again the historical type of book, kind of diving into everything that's that's known about the Republic. A little bit of pre-prequel, with some revisits to characters that we grew up with in the prequel trilogy, and then going also something with the High Republic era. So yeah, nothing post Return of the Jedi publications. We haven't had any of that in a while, actually. I think they're kind of staying clear of that because of the Mandoverse and because of the new Jedi Legacy or the new Jedi Order. They don't want to maybe jump into any of those stories quite yet. I have a feeling that as we get closer to the new Jedi Order and maybe even the Mandalorian Grogu movie, or maybe the Mandoverse movie, we might get a couple of side stories here and there in comic book format, maybe even a prequel novel to the new Jedi Legacy or the new Jedi Order. So something that ties in from in between Rise of Skywalker and that movie. Maybe we'll get some novels that kind of things that took place up until that point. I have a feeling that will come into play, and they're probably already in the works as we're heading to that time frame. But let's go ahead and talk about the Bad Batch. I'm actually on season 2 now, or episode 2 now. So let's see here. Let me go ahead and pull up this amazing shot. Oops, somehow I lost my sharing. I want to share that awesome. This one? Yeah, this one. I love this picture. I love this poster is amazing, right? I love this. But yeah, the Bad Batch season 3, 3-episode premiere last week. So how did everybody like it? Hope everybody enjoyed it. I'm glad it came out with the first 3 episodes, honestly. I actually would have been fine with just the first 2, but I think it was great to go back to that 3rd episode, just to kind of come full circle with the characters that we started out with episode 1, because episode 1, obviously we're on Tantus, we're talking about Omega, we're really seeing how dark it is at that point in time for her. Season 2 basically goes with Wrecker and Hunter, seeing where they are right now, and at this time period, and then episode 3 going back to Tantus and kind of giving us a cool end of Omega on Tantus for now. I don't think she's going back. I honestly don't. I think everybody. Well, I think she's not getting caught in going back. Let's just put it that way. They are going back. They're good. This is gonna, I think, end on Tantus this season with basically the destruction of the scientific research facility on Tantus, which kind of hints as to why there's other scientific research facilities across the galaxy, which tied into some of the episodes foreshadowing that. which we'll get into a little bit. But the first episode, being confined, was the title of the first episode. So again, with that title, we see Omega imprisoned, even though she's kind of told that she's not really imprisoned. She's kind of like a guest. But we all know that the Empire, yeah, has all of these clones imprisoned. It's for a reason. We get further confirmation of that reason as we watch this episode. It was nice to see the relationship building that Omega did with so many characters in this episode, which ended up these characters being an integral part of her escape. At least most of them. But I think the one is going to come around and assist in at least by the end of this episode, and is going to really see how horrible the Empire is, because most clones end up doing that, right? And Emery Carr, who we get to revisit a little bit in this episode, as she's really tied to Omega, with basically Omega being her kind of assistant. And we already start to see her come around a little bit. We see her, at first kind of just doing her duty and kind of babysitting Omega, as it were, teaching her everything that she needs to do for her duties every day. And then, the inspections on Omega's cell, basically, and no personal items, which she finds and reminds Omega that she cannot, by like basically taking that handmade Tuca doll and destroying it. But Omega just, very much confined to her cell. I just lost it again, didn't I? Oh, I accidentally closed it, I think. What did I do? I messed up. Technology is horrible sometimes. Anyway, there we go. But yeah, Omega in her cell, confined there. But yeah, that Tuca doll, which, by the way, the Tuca, oh, that's what I did. I accidentally hit stop sharing. The Tuca doll, you can make that. That is the handmade version. There's a description on StarWars.com. You can make your own little Omega version of the Tantus Tuca, if you want to call it the Tantus Tuca, from the Bad Batch. You can make that. It tells you how to do that on StarWars.com. So, but Omega, kind of breaking through to Emery. Again, that sisterly bond. They are the only two female clones that we know of. And there's going to be that bond. I have a feeling there's going to be that bond. She's going to help her out. I mean, you can see it already. She gave her the Tuca back in the end of the episode. So I have a feeling she's going to help her out in the end. She's definitely going to help her out in the end. Nala Se, we learn a lot about the reasons why Nala Se is so protective of Omega. We see her basically discarding her blood samples, which hints at some interesting theories that she can hold a high M count, which obviously we know midichlorian count, which is kind of what they're trying to do. They're trying to find a clone that can host a high M count for a certain specimen. And we learn more about that in episode 3. But in this episode, we realize that Omega must have the ability to do this, and that's why her samples are being held, because obviously the research would move on if this was the case. And so Nala Se is kind of protecting her in this way. And Nala Se looking really rough. So obviously, again, the Empire using these people, probably very malnourished. Um, Nalase probably more so than Omega, because Omega, the only reason Nalase is continuing to work is basically for the the protection and keeping Omega okay. So, and not like all the other clones who are kind of in harsher conditions. You can tell that when you see all the other clones walking around, including Crosshair. And speaking of Crosshair, um, it was interesting how they kind of showed that relationship again. Omega reaching out to Crosshair, always sensing still there's good in him, that he is her brother, and never giving up on him. And it was cool to see how they did that scene with her sitting there kind of rehashing her story, her throughout the day, like everything that's happened, not really knowing who she was talking to at first, and then Crosshair basically like, why are you here? Why are you doing this? Stop. Um, and not really giving up on her, but kind of giving up on himself. I mean, encouraging her, to, if she finds an escape, to escape without even worrying about him, because he's kind of given up on himself at this point in time. He's, I guess, is thinking that he doesn't even deserve to live on because of everything that he's done. Maybe he's realized he's picked the wrong side. Um, but it was really nice to kind of see that development of them two reaching out, and you can tell Crosshair starts to come around a little bit in the end, but still kind of forced, like pushing her to just focus on herself, be a little bit more selfish. And then there's Batcher, the Lurka Hound, which Omega befriends, and kind of takes under her care, which ends up kind of being bad for the Lurka Hound, because they're going to terminate her, first because she's injured, but then because she's too domesticated. But then Omega gets Freeze Batcher, which ends up helping out in the long run as well. So all these characters that, again, Omega forming these connections, and we know after the first 3 episodes that 2 of them help Omega. Emery, not so much yet, but I believe that there's going to be either a sacrifice from Emery, or that Emery is going to help out in the end of season 3. So, Confined, I thought was a great episode. Very dark, very emotional. Formed a lot of connections with these characters, emotional connections. So I'm giving the first episode a really good episode, story wise, and yeah, intensity wise. A really good episode. Moving on to the second episode of this season. Again, we're switching areas in the galaxy, and we're going to follow up now with Hunter and Wrecker, to see what they're doing. And this episode was titled Paths Unknown, which is an interesting title. I mean, we know that they've been searching for Omega for some time. And talking about the timeline, we do know this week a little bit more insight on the episode from this week, how long they've been missing. It was kind of tough to tell from the first 3 episodes, because you could see in the first part of episode 1, Omega still had short hair. You could tell it was kind of, maybe she had just got to Tantus. She was learning her routines every day. And then you kind of, as you're kind of going through that episode, you're really seeing that this is taking place over time. She's scratching days on her cell. I think I counted like 20 at one point. So, almost, and I was thinking, well, maybe they didn't show them all. Maybe at least a month has gone by, right? That's what I was thinking, especially with her hair being longer at the end of the episode, kind of in that ponytail. And then, obviously those Lurker Hounds, which were not tame. It takes a while to domesticate an animal, so it's taken some time. And then once you kind of realize, if you're going to somebody every day like Crosshair, she visited Crosshair every day. He's gonna start thinking, right? So Wrecker and Hunter, their paths kind of don't really know. They're kind of clueless on how to find where Omega is. They don't know where it is. They're turning to help from others, which we see that in the beginning of the episode. We get to revisit a character from season 1, which again, I totally forgot about this character from season 1. I don't remember which episode, but Roland Durand. And we meet his mother, Queen Mother, and they basically deliver the pike that chopped off his horn. So in lieu of information. And he kind of persuades his mother to allow them to come and for them to provide the information. Now the information is kind of falsified. They were not given the information in full because they're sent to a planet where one of the older institutions of research for the Empire was done. And we kind of see, why they left through this episode. This is another episode of the Bad Batch that has a lot of cool, like, horror-esque feels. I almost like I felt very Stranger Things feels in this one, especially when they were in the facility with all the little, like, the dust, like, floating around. Almost felt like the Upside Down world, and then the creatures. So I felt very Stranger Things vibes from this episode. With those creatures, the Slithervine creatures, which there was different variations of those, which was really cool. But excuse me. Before they get there, though, we have a really cool shot of the Marauder, and they kind of I think it was Hunter, glances back at like Omega's little area on the ship, and you see those heirlooms, which is a nice touch. Always thinking about Omega, we got to save Omega. That's like a continuous thought in their mind. And you see the little Tuca doll, which kind of, again, connects you from the first episode to the second episode of how important that little Tuca doll is. Omega making one in her cell, and then we see the actual one from the Marauder. And then Tech's goggles still there. So just kind of moving forward, never forgetting the members of their team that they've lost. So, which is a really cool, nice little touch. But those slither vines on Citron, I think was the name of the planet. The slither vines, another one of those things that I think the Empire kind of genetically created. I mean, it seems like they're making weapons out of pretty much everything. And so these slither vines are like all over the place, and we get our first run-in with them in the forest. That was in that little trailer spot right before the episodes were released. Then they can go into the facility, and you have those like three-legged slither vine creatures running around that kind of is like face suckers from Aliens a little bit. And then we have the mother of all slither vines, which almost looked like a sarlacc mouth coming out of the mud, which was really cool. But again, very kind of that horror feel coming into the Bad Batch there. And then the cadets that are there, they're actually clone cadets that were there on that facility that had escaped as well. And they end up helping Hunter and Wrecker. One of them goes into the facility with them, and then the other ones actually help out, come and rescue them with the Marauder, which at first you kind of thought they were going to steal the Marauder, but they end up helping out, and they all fly off together. And it's hinted at, I don't think they actually said it, but it's kind of hinted at that they take them to Pabu, which was in the second season. That kind of island that had the tidal wave that was kind of, we all just kind of figured that that's where the season's going to end, with them going there most likely. And that's where they're going to live out their lives kind of in secret and in safety. So yeah, so those cadets getting saved as well, and being able to have a life of non-soldier life for a clone, which is pretty cool. And then the last episode, Shadows of Tantus, again going back to Tantus again, and what a great episode with the Emperor showing up here, and we're really starting to learn what this research is. Even though we all kind of had an idea of it, it really connects it to The Mandalorian, with the sequel trilogy. Basically, a host body trying to be formed, which is basically, culminating into the Emperor looking for something that can hold a midi-chlorian count, for himself, really, to be able to survive. And we hear the term Project Necromancer, which was used in The Mandalorian. So very, very close connections, ties to all of this, coming full circle, starting all the way back in the time of the formation of the Galactic Empire, which again goes along with this book. Maybe we're gonna hear all about that plan in a chapter, that the Emperor kind of laid out for himself. Then we have the escape going on at the same time as the Emperor's visit, kind of distracted. Everybody's distracted with that visit. So Omega gets the chance to escape. Nala Se helping out with that. Realizing that she's going to get found out because Nala Se is going to be away from the testing room, which Emery Carr is actually doing. So knowing that her blood sample is going to get tested, Omega escapes. Of course, she rescues Crosshair. And then just when you think, they're going to not make it out, Batcher comes in and joins in and helps out in the rescue as well. They end up stealing the ship of the clones, or the stormtroopers that come out to retrieve them. They steal the ship and fly off, almost get shot down, but then are kind of let go once they realize that Omega's able to hold them counts at that high level. Now, Nala Se says that it was a mistake, but obviously they are going to try to find Omega and Crosshair and bring them back alive. At least Omega back alive is the intention, to revisit the test and make sure that this isn't a false test. So I forgot to switch my background to the Emperor returning. Palpatine making his return in the Bad Batch. So I think I'm trying to think of which my favorite episode. So the second episode was good. Not my favorite of the first three. But the first episode and the third episode really good. But honestly, I think out of the first three, the first episode was my favorite. Just watching the Slithervine mother get annihilated by the thermal detonator. So so cool. That was a good episode. So different than the other two, but actually all three of them were just very different. But anyway, that was the Bad Batch. So curious as to what you think of the first three episodes. Did you like them? Not? Which one was your favorite? All that good stuff. Again, we will revisit the Bad Batch next week. We'll talk about the other episodes because, I don't want to give anything away about these episodes. this current episode quite yet. I'll give everybody a chance to watch that. That premiered today, and we'll let everybody get that episode. And then finally tonight, we're going to do Not Long Ago in This Galaxy. And the reason why we're going to do that last is we're going to talk a little bit about video games. Because Not Long Ago in This Galaxy has a little bit to do with that. And I'm going to go back to the screen that I had in the beginning, because that is what ties to Not Long Ago in This Galaxy. Because back in, let me get the year. Get the year of this, because I don't remember the year. 1999, February 28th, 1999, Star Wars X-Wing Alliance arrived from LucasArts. It was the last entry in the venerable X-Wing flight simulator series. So remember, we had X-Wing, TIE Fighter, and then X-Wing Alliance. Now, we did have that one in between TIE Fighter and X-Wing Alliance that was X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. That was basically just a kind of like a re-release of X-Wing with TIE Fighter. Didn't have that. I mean, they kind of upgraded the graphics a little bit, but it was basically just a combo pack. I think they had a couple more missions, but it was basically a combo pack. TIE Fighter being my favorite out of all the three, honestly. X-Wing Alliance, I really didn't get to play much, but it was a good game. I have it. I would like to see all three of these get a re-release, actually. It would be great to have, I don't know what they would call it, but it would be cool to have a re-release of all three games, since they're doing re-releases now. You know, they're doing really, and I like a good flight simulator. Honestly, I have not played Rogue Squadron, not played that, but I would like to actually have that on Xbox, like all three of those games, which would be really cool. And speaking of that, we got this news last week. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection getting a re-release, coming March the 14th. So, yeah, Battlefront, which came out in 2004, Battlefront 2, which came out in 2005. We are going to have these come back March 14th. It's going to be on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5 and 4, Xbox Series XS and the One, and also for PC via Steam. You can get this for $35, so not bad for two games, right? Not bad for two games. You can do online play up to 64 players, which is going to be a lot of fun. And there are expansions to the Hero Assault mode, and all the previously released bonus content for both titles. Yeah, so really cool. The Classic Edition has a bonus map for Jabba's Palace, which is really awesome. It'd be so cool to run around Jabba's Palace. Now that we've seen a lot of it in the Book of Boba Fett, it'll be cool to be able to run around the palace. It's such a big palace, right? And then for Battlefront 2, we have bonus maps for Bespin, Cloud City, Renvar, the Harbor, and Renvar, the Citadel, and then also Yavin 4 Arena. So, which I thought Yavin 4 was, maybe it wasn't in the original. I don't know what I was thinking of. And then also bonus heroes in the way of Asajj Ventress. Again, Asajj getting a lot of love this year. And Kit Fisto, which would be a lot of fun to play. But yeah, so a lot of fun with these classic games, right? Because remember, the other game that is actually out today, I believe, right? I think it got released today. Dark Forces. Dark Forces Remaster released today, right? Yeah, it is available now for Windows PC via Steam, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Series X and S, and the Nintendo Switch. So yeah, the remaster of Dark Forces, which is a lot of fun. I can't wait to actually get this because I just want to wait till I get some time to actually be able to play it. But it looks very interesting to be able to see this with kind of updated graphics, not that 8-bit look that it used to have. But and I think there's some little new hints and things around on the game that will be some fun new features to be able to explore. I think they had said that as well. So um, always good to see these classic games coming back. So maybe this is gonna be a big thing, getting all these classic games coming back. I'd like to see all of the Kyle Katarn series get a re-release on all the new consoles, so that I can kind of put away all my stuff for good and just have everything at my fingertips to play. But yeah, so I am actually on episode 3. Oh, I forgot about that one. The other one, and I just deleted my screenshot of it. I don't know if anybody has ever played it, but it's Brawlhalla, I think is the name of the the online game. It's free on Xbox. I haven't played it yet, but apparently there are some um, overlays for Star Wars. They're gonna bring characters. There's a Star Wars event that brings Anakin Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi to the fighting game, and yeah, that actually starts on March the 20th. So I'm kind of curious as to about it. I gotta like play it and get familiar with it before that happens, so that I can um, jump in and see that. I don't know anything about Brawlhalla. Maybe you know. I have no idea. Don't know anything about it, but yeah. So that's another one. So yeah, a lot of Star Wars content in gaming right now. I'm still waiting for um, Outlaws is going to be my next. Can't wait for after Jedi Survivor. That took pretty quickly to beat that one. So, but yeah, Outlaws going to be released not too long. And that is it for tonight. I've had somebody jump off real quick, but if you're watching this later, thank you very much. I apologize for not doing this last night. I did go to the parks yesterday. I was there for a really long time. Actually, I was at Magic Kingdom for a really long time. And then I went and did a monorail crawly. Ended up spending a lot of time at the Steakhouse 71 Lounge last night. I met a Star Cruiser passenger there, and had some great fun conversations with her, as well as another big Star Wars fan, and who had not gone on the Halcyon, but he was very intrigued by it and kind of sad he didn't get to go. So, but it was a lot of fun talking to them for a good amount of time last night, and kind of time got away from me, and I ended up getting home later than I would have gone live. So I just decided to not go live last night. I was kind of beat from the long day to yesterday, but yeah, I got to do this tonight though, and hope everybody enjoys everything that is going on. Hope you get caught up with Bad Batch. Watch this week's episode. We'll talk about that next week, as well as so much more Star Wars, obviously. Star Cruiser anniversary, 2-year anniversary is this Friday. I'm going to try to go to Galaxy's Edge. I'm down a car right now, so it's going to be tough. But I'm going to try to go. In fact, the the passenger that I was with on last night, I had told her about it, and she's going to try to make it there to Galaxy's Edge as well. So she's from Australia, by the way. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun talking, and I hope I can get there to at least say hello to them and some other former passengers and crew members that are going to do a little bit of meetup at Galaxy's Edge on Friday morning. So, and then I know a lot of people are going on the Wish, when you wish upon a Star Cruiser. So safe travels on that voyage to those of you going. Yeah, and that's going to be it for tonight. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. That way you know when I'm going live. Hit those notifications so that happens. Watch me also. Subscribe to my Instagram, The Crucial Crew Member. I go live almost every day on my drive to work, and we do a little not long ago in this galaxy segment at that time, usually 2:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until next time, which will be tomorrow if you're following me on Instagram. But until next week for Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast, remember to watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars, and most importantly, remember, may the stars light your way. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great week. Safe travels.